Welcome, everyone. This is Carcino, yours truly. Whew, nice in a calm state. This hat is staying right where it belongs, right by my side at all times. Now, Stephen A. Smith today made some comments that I felt he shouldn't have made. To me, it was very egregious and very wrong for a lot of different reasons. Now, as they how they're going to distribute the video, I can only say this in its truest form right here. I'm disappointed in Stephen A. Smith right now. Stephen A. Smith today came out and said Isiah Thomas, Isiah Lord Thomas III, he needs to let it go. Let it go. That's what was stated. He did a show today stating what Isiah said and said, yes, everything Isiah Thomas said was a fact. But why did you need to say that? Michael Jordan said it was back then. Let it go. Stephen A. Smith. Here is why. Okay? Here is why we don't let it go. Stephen A. Smith told Isiah to let it go because Isiah pointed out the fact that Michael Jordan never beat any of the Pistons or in the 80s. He didn't beat Magic in the 80s. He didn't beat any of these guys in the 80s. He didn't beat Bird in the 80s. Dr. J, none of those teams from the 80s. Michael should be properly placed in the 90s because that was his era. So that was what the context of what the statement was about. Stephen A. Smith pointed out that, yes, Michael did something they never did, but he never beat the great players to do that, like the legendary Bird, Magic, and all of those guys to get the three-peat. So yeah, Isiah's taking his shots, and Mike and Stephen A. saying he should let it go. Why are you saying he should let it go after you spoke with Michael Jordan? You didn't tell Isiah Thomas to let it go when he was on First Take the other day, just 2 days ago. You didn't tell Isiah Thomas to let it go. Why should Isiah Thomas let it go? Because Michael Jordan gave you a phone call and he's talking through you? That's throwing rocks and hiding your hands. Okay? Michael Jordan didn't come out publicly and say the things that you said he said. We believe you. We believe that Michael Jordan called you and said all those wonderful things about Isiah Thomas and that was just back then. It's not how he feels today. But shouldn't Michael Jordan be making that statement? See, if it's genuine, then it will be made not through you, it will be made by Michael Jordan himself. That's why Detroit don't honor it. That's why Isiah Thomas don't honor it. That's why I don't honor it. And neither does anybody else in Chicago would honor something like that. If somebody goes out and publicly say something on television that they can replay over and over again, disrespecting me, and I come out and represent myself, who are you to tell me to let it go? If that person did not come back in the same format and say, oh, here's my video, I'm putting it out there, I'm saying this to say that was back then, it's not how I feel today. No, he squirmed around like a snake and talking through Stephen A. Stephen A, tell him what I said. Knowing it's not going to have that effect. So basically, you're letting that ride. That's what you're doing. You're letting that ride because nobody's going to hear you clearing it up. They're only going to hear the lie. So for you to tell Isiah Thomas to let it go, you're wrong. Michael Jordan needs to let it go. The Chicago Bulls and their media need to let it go. ESPN need to let it go. Because we weren't talking about this until this documentary came up, and they're tired of being disrespected by a team that was inferior to them. The Chicago Bulls was an inferior basketball team. Look, Joe Dumars is Joe Dumars. How he felt is how he felt. He went and shook hands. He didn't walk off. John Sally shook hands. They chose to do that because they're friends with those guys. That's what they chose to do. But as great as Joe Dumars is, y'all looked at him like he was a thug. Two of those guys on the team has become executives. Three of those guys have become coaches in this league and executives, and an executive that's won a championship, one part owner of an NBA basketball team, the first to ever do that. And another went on to coach three-time WNBA champion. So for thugs, they got 4 Hall of Fame players. I didn't know you could be 4-time Hall of Fame, have four Hall of Fame players. They should have 5, but 4 and a head coach for being thugs. How is that possible? Because the Chicago Bulls was soft? That's our fault? So Stephen A. Smith, I want you to understand something. Isiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons This logo is about pride. It's not like the Bulls logo. Okay, that's some artificial marketing BS. This represents the people. Okay, this represents real. You understand? This is why they fought to get this logo back, because it means something to them. This is real. Real basketball. Real people. A real city that stood behind these people. As you saw the Detroit Pistons, you saw loyalty, you saw honor, you saw respect. You saw people that rallied behind a city and behind a team to represent them, because they represented what this city was about: hard work and unity. Carlton, you call it bully ball, we call it execution. The Bulls played physical, they just were soft. They weren't talented enough. They were bums. If you watch my Instagram video, it shows you y'all were dirtier than everybody else too. But they don't show you the highlights of the Bulls being dirty. They only want to show you the Pistons being dirty. You think Joe Dumars played bully ball? You think Isiah Thomas played bully ball? 2 Hall of Fame players? Bully ball, huh? So Dennis Rodman was a bully with the Pistons. Then he stopped being a bully for the Bulls? Is that what he did? He averaging 24 rebounds a game, but it's bullying people. They played just how the league was played. They just weren't punks like the Bulls were. The Bulls were a bunch of slap-jawed faggots. That's how they played. They cried. They begged the referees. They tried to play tough. I mean, but as you saw, when you got Ed Neely out there and he trying to be an enforcer, and Will Purdue, and you got them to be your enforcers, you lost. Soon as he fouled Buddha Edwards, you can see it right on my Instagram. The first thing he did was get slapped. Slap! Then he punched him in the mouth. Pop! Go foul Buddha, big hack. And Buddha tore him up. They cheap shotted us. Pippin through illegal screens, elbows. They did it all. But the Bulls is counterfeit. All they were was Michael Jordan. They were a marketing team. That's all it is. That logo is marketing. That don't stand for nothing. Stands for nothing. It's trash. This represents the people. Nelson Mandela wore this logo. First time in the United States of America from getting out of prison, he comes to where? Detroit, where he wore a Piston jacket and had on a Piston hat, baby. The logo. The man was in jail and prison for years. Came to the United States and was rocking Detroit Piston gear. That's what we represented. Our 2 is far greater than your 6. You had to go get 3 Detroit Pistons and steal our defensive schemes Steal all our knowledge that we did to win championships because you couldn't win no more. Because Shaq and Penny was whooping y'all butt. Y'all was getting owned. So y'all had to go get Dennis. Had to go get John Sally. You had to go get Edwards. Why? Because they was busting y'all up. Every time we played y'all, they was busting y'all up. The Sally Rodman show. Buddha Edwards in the post. We know. We know all about it. So we so dirty and we're bad for the game, but you guys went and got us and brought us on your team because you want to steal our philosophy. It's all you are. It's a fraud. The Chicago Bulls are fraud, and Stephen A. Smith should know better. Don't ever tell Isiah Thomas when to let something go. You are never in that position to sit in that chair and open your mouth to say Isiah Thomas should let something go. When Michael Jordan come out and publicly make a statement, then we'll let it go. Then we could say it's over with. It's done. We through. But until that slimy worm do that, because he ain't going to do it because he's a coward. Just like he do. Throw stones and hide his hands and then talk behind the scenes. Oh, that was back then. You ain't hear me when I told Stephen A. Smith that? No, do it in the same format you tried to persecute them for. Soft team. Oh, of course I'm the number one Detroit Piston fan. It's no doubt. The number one bad boy Piston fan is here. Right here. There's no doubt. The whole world know. Anybody that know me know one thing. This logo and me, that's it. This logo will be on my cast. This logo and me go all the way back. Because it's easy to be a Detroit Piston fan when you're in Detroit. Try being a Detroit Piston fan in the city of Chicago. In the heart of the city of Chicago. Not when the Pistons are winning. When the Bulls are winning too. And you repping this. Through all of it. You repping this. Shannon said they would have beat the 80s Pistons. Now he wouldn't have beat nothing. LeBron would be on the bench. If that. Why would this documentary have anything to do with LeBron? Kenny, nothing you said had any. This is like two greatest players in their era having a conversation in a fight, and the janitor wants to weigh in. But what about the janitor? You know, he mop up the floors in the gym. Shouldn't he be in the conversation of greatest of all time? No, the janitor LeBron James don't have a voice here. Nobody's worried about the janitor. He's a janitor in this conversation that we're talking about. Well, the MVP award is a popularity affair. You tell me Isaiah Thomas wasn't MVP in 1984 when he averaged 13 assists a game for a season. The highest assist number probably still to this day. Nobody's averaged, he averaged 13.8 assists for the season. I don't think anybody's ever done that. I think he was MVP that year. 86, Larry Bird, that team, I think that was probably another one of the best years he's had, where he should have been probably MVP that year too. So it's a lot of years that they didn't crown him where he should have been most valuable player. As Pat Riley said, Isaiah Thomas had a reign of 4 years where he had the best point guard play he's ever seen in the history of the game of basketball. And he tried to bring that to the New York Knicks, but he never had the point guard. He had all the other positions. He just could not get the point guard. And that hurt them. So when he went to Miami, he tried to recreate the Detroit Pistons. And when he went there, what did he do? He tried to get the point guard. He thought Tim Hardaway would be that guy, and he found out Tim Hardaway was not that guy. Tim Hardaway is a scoring point guard where he looks mostly to score and break your ankles and do those things. But the actual execution of making everybody else better, the leadership qualities that Isaiah possessed, Tim didn't possess that. As great as he was, he wasn't that kind of player. He couldn't. He didn't know how to elevate the other players around him. Isaiah Thomas could do that. If it wasn't for copyright issues, I would show you right now, and it would end all this conversation because the majority of you just don't know how much better Isaiah Thomas was than Michael Jordan, than how much better he was than every other player in the league. And I could show you here. I'm going to have to do it on Instagram Live. So on IG Live today, you guys will see that. I'm going to do it on IG Live. Because here I get hit with copyrights. So you'll know. Just go to the Carcino. My IG Live is going to be kicking off. And we going right to it. Because I'm going to have to show you guys. I'm not. Yeah, you're right. I am disrespecting the janitors. Because LeBron James don't deserve to be mentioned even in that category. What time will I post that? Immediately after this video ends. After this video ends, I'm going straight to IG Live. Then it will be in my IG stories for those who missed it. Don't worry, it will be there. And you'll get to see why Isaiah Thomas is light years better than Michael Jordan. For those who didn't and missed all of those things that happened back in the 80s, you'll never question it again. Well, you shouldn't. And you'll understand what I'm saying. When Isaiah Thomas plays the game, a guy who would normally score maybe 4 points a game could score 14 points a game. And you'd be like, man, how did he do that? Isaiah can make him better. He'll make it easier for him. He can get that big guy buckets where no one else could. He makes it easy. He gives him the ball in positions where it's easier for him to score and showcase him. He makes players who are very subpar players and not really that good elevate their game. And they like, man, these guys are really good. And they go on another team and they can't perform. And that reason is because he elevated them. Because he knew how to get them easier shots. Now, please do not make a mistake and compare that to that bum from Akron. Don't do that. Well, we gotta see what's going on with the rest of the world and all of those things. But when this ends, we're gonna go ahead and tackle that. So let me end this video now so you guys can get caught up. Don't forget, my Cash App is Carceno, Carceno, if you want to donate to the page and keep everything rolling. The Patreon right now is cracking. I have a little bit of a backstory to what's already on Patreon today. I put a story out on Patreon that kind of shocked the world. They didn't know about that. And it's educational and it's all factual. And I name names. So we're going to get it cracking.